and it is yours.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody, for taking some time this evening to join us on our second town hall. I'm glad we're having these opportunities to chat and reach out to the community in this broader format. Gives us a chance to share information. I mean, for me, it's important that we have good communication, good open dialogue with our community, and I hope that these are informative, but also stimulate some conversations outside and beyond these presentations that we're doing here today. So I will take you through my presentation this evening. I'm going to guess probably 20-30 minutes at the most, and then some Q&A. As always, if you've got questions or comments beyond, feel free to send me an email, give a call or whatever. Communication is pretty key for me, and I want to be able to reach out and have those conversations with you. So high level, this is the topics that I'm going to touch on this evening. You know, COVID, it is real. We hear about it every day. High performance vision moving forward right now. Touch on our gold medal profile and where things are at with that. Some FIS and IPC updates as we know them right now. And just an overview of criteria and the process that goes into all of that. Purpose tonight is, you know, to frame what is high performance, where are we hoping to get to, and how you guys all play a role in helping us achieve that. So we'll start off with COVID, hot topic of today, of course. It is ever present, and it is a shifting landscape, as we know. Plans that we were making today may be looking very different next week. They could look very different tomorrow. And so we are constantly having that in the back of our minds as we are preparing and looking at what is possible for us. At the end of the day, I mean, what we're really trying to focus on is where are we making gains, and how are we getting to our longer term goals of performances for us in high performance on the international stage. And depending on how this year rolls out, whether we're able to race internationally or domestically or not at all, I think we need to always be focused on where are we making our gains, and, you know, in training, when we can compete, what are we doing to every day be better? Controlling the things that are within our control. COVID, we can't control. Lockdowns and shutdowns, we don't have a lot of control over. One of the big things that we can control is how we approach our training, how we approach getting better each and every day. Our NST and Parent National Ski Team competition plans, right now they are focused on some key international events. We're really hopeful that those are going to come through, but we also have many different plans, you know, A through almost Z in our minds as to how we shift and pivot this season. And I fully expect that we're going to have to shift and pivot. Ultimately for us, the health and safety of our athletes and our staff is going to be critical in all the decisions that we make. There could be times where the changes are dictated to us, and you know, an event shuts down, or we're not able to get into a nation because there are restrictions, or we may look at all of the evidence in front of us and decide that it's not safe for us to go in as a nation. Kind of as we saw at the end of March with the World Cup in Quebec, we needed to make a decision that was best for Canada and Canada's athletes. Certainly those decisions won't be taken lightly, and we'll make sure that those are communicated out and the rationale behind those. We are posting updates and resources on our COVID protocol page. So make sure you check that out. If you're hosting events or looking for extra supports on how you run trainings or events and the like. Frozen Thunder has just opened, and it is, the snow is fantastic right now. Yesterday was the first day. Great to see the athletes out in training, but it's definitely different this year. We're restricted by the number of people allowed on the track at any given time. There's a maximum of 100. There's a zone 4 registration. Athletes have to sign up for their time on the track. More so are high performance athletes and teams coming in. And we've got reserved times for those athletes where they require a bib to get onto the track, and they are required to sign up to secure their spot because we are limited. And talking to Cindy today, our bibs are getting close to almost sold out. So that's all happening through zone 4, again, to limit contact within the office. Big bibs are hanging outside the office for athletes to pick up. It seems to be a super smooth process right now, but certainly open to feedback as people get out here. And I hope people can get out here and join us safely without restrictions. So heading into high performance vision, I've been in the job for a little over a month now, maybe 6 weeks. Have had some excellent conversations. We're starting to have some excellent conversations with people within the community and across the nation. I know there's many more conversations to be had, and I'm looking forward to having those conversations with folks. When I'm chatting, I mean, for me, I have a huge respect for history. I'm a history major from university. I respect what has been before so that I can better understand how it can be better in the future. So that's kind of the foundation of the conversations that I'm having. And as I said, they've been excellent, and it's nice to have those one-on-one conversations to be able to share where we want to go and what role everybody plays in helping us achieve that. So we've got big goals, and we recognize it's going to be a long game, and we have very high expectations for our national team programs. Back in 2016, we did a high performance review, and we know incrementally we're targeting towards 2026 to make our biggest impact. That's not to say that athletes who are performing right now are not a focus of ours, but we're looking long-term for our future success and our sustained success on the international stage. At the NST level, it is international performances that we're striving towards and that we're focused on. We recognize it's going to be a process to get there. As much as I would love to wave a magic wand and have all the solutions today, I know that I need to kind of look under the hood of the car and see what's working. Are the belts in the right places and the nuts and bolts tight enough, and make sure that we've got the processes and the systems in place to make it happen. And it's not going to be without some growing pains. I totally recognize that. And I hope that through the communication and the conversations that we have with the community, we build this nationally focused, nationally driven, high performance program that Canada can be proud of, and the athletes and the coaches involved as well. Everybody plays a role. When you get to the national ski team, it's the top of the pyramid. And honestly, we're looking to make gains on the excellence that's already there, the talent that's already there within the athletes who are performing. So whether it's a training center, a provincial team, a club team, coaches and athletes, everybody has a role to play in making sure that Canada is the best that it can be. And every role, because they're so vitally important, it's something to be proud of in that role that you play, and being excellent at what you do, and understanding how important your roles are to helping Canada succeed on the world stage. So like I said, big goals. We're playing a long game, and we're striving towards that sustained medal performance that will help Canada be the #1 sports nation in winter that we are striving for across all winter sports. The pile of medals at the bottom are a fraction. Most of the medals won by the Para-Nordic team in the 2018 games. And, you know, it's achievable, it's there, and I'd love to see a giant stack of medals coming from Canada on a really consistent basis, World Cup, and Olympic and Paralympic. To do that, we've been working with Own the Podium quite closely around creating our gold medal profile. And this is something that has been in process for quite a while. Those of you who've been in the sport have probably heard bits and pieces about the gold medal profile. And to some, it's a bit of a mystery. What is it? How can I apply it? All of those things. For us, we're focused on exactly that. It's the gold medal. It's the top of the pyramid. It's the podium performances that we're focusing on. Within Para-Nordic, we've got 7 medalists that we can look to in terms of benchmarking. But that's not to say that, you know, all these athletes check all of the pieces within these pillars that are presented here in the diagram. What we've identified within Nordic skiing, and we've actually been working closely with biathlon as well. There's so much crossover between the two sports that it seemed kind of silly for us to be talking about technique and them to be creating something else for technique. And on the Para-Nordic side, we also do shooting. So there's a lot of crossovers between the two, and it's been awesome to, you know, look at the synergies between the sports and how we don't have to recreate the wheels. So the pillars that we've identified, and to give you a sense of the process, first it was like, what are the pillars that we know to be true within cross-country skiing? And for us, it was the mental performance, and there's so many layers to what that is. The technical aspect of our sport, which you all know is vast and varied. The tactical approach to our racing, all the physical attributes and development of an athlete, their health and wellness, and the equipment that they choose. And then for Para-Nordic, of course, there's the shooting piece. From there, defining what those key performance factors are within each of those pillars. And we've done that. That is fairly well established and vetted. It hasn't been like an internal just Nordic Canada staff. Like I said, we've reached out and we've worked with biathlon, but we've also engaged with our ISTs, our sport sciences, our physiologists, our doctors, our nutritionists, our mental performance consultants. There's lots of eyes and lots of experts providing input into this, and we're really excited for what it will be once it is complete and ready to roll out. So once we've defined those key performance factors, it's defining how we're going to measure those. So great, we understand that health is important, but what about health is important? And how are we going to measure that? And then how are we going to assess those things? And then defining what those benchmarks are within that. This year, the plan is for us to confirm that what we've put in place is true in providing us with the feedback that we want. The gold medal profile is a gap analysis, and essentially. So an athlete will receive a report card under each of these pillars to say, look, technically your classic is a yellow, your double poling is a green, and your one skate is a red. So we know we can narrow down where we can help the athletes make their changes and close the gaps to get to those podium performances. So that's kind of where we're at. It is coming together. It's a long process and it's a detailed process. But for us, we want to make sure that we're doing it right as opposed to doing it quickly. I think we've all seen this before, and I've added a few of my own tabs. There's a lot that goes into those podium performances. And as I said earlier, we need a nation behind us. We need great coaches, great athletes. We need strong clubs. We've got plans in place and skills to develop. We need to be thinking outside the box and innovative. I'd love to find a Canadian way and, you know, in a few years' time, have people turning their heads and going, what is Canada doing? Like, they've got something dialed in. There's a secret sauce that's happening there. And, you know, we are consistently up there fighting for those top podium performances on the international stage. To give you a sense of what we know right now from an international standpoint, these are the races that have been proposed and what we are planning as a team to attend within the FIS and the IPC calendar. The events that are highlighted or bolded are really our key events that, if nothing else, these are the ones that we want to invest and get athletes to. Some of them are absolutely critical for us to earn quota spots for the 2022 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And so, you know, we really want to get to those. The test event in China, of course, that allows our technicians to get onto the snow, see what it's like, understand the conditions that are there, and also gets the athletes onto the courses that will be for the games the following year. Of course, this is all assuming that everything goes well and nothing shifts within the global pandemic situation. So P1 is Lillehammer, Davos, and Dresden. We're likely looking at sending a small team there, and the reasoning for that is largely the COVID piece for us. FIS has presented protocols and testing requirements. And as a team, we're not sure how it's all going to roll out necessarily, and how as a team logistically we facilitate those extra layers to the new normal of competing. So doing that with a smaller team certainly allows us to be a little bit more nimble and flexible in how we do things. As we prepare to bring over, we hope, a much larger team for World Juniors and the World Ski Championships. Another factor to consider when we're looking at P1 is if athletes do not meet the benchmarks that we're looking for them to achieve to stay on and qualify for the later periods, they would have to come back to Canada and compete at trials to earn their spaces to come to World Juniors and Championships. And as we know, there's a 14-day mandatory quarantine, and there's no flexibility on that at this time. So athletes really need to consider where they can best perform. And if there's a risk of them not being ready and fresh onto snow in December, then trials might be the one that they want to put their hat on, and coming in to December, having to quarantine and then performing with their it can be tricky depending on how well people can quarantine and where they're able to do that. So we're aware of that and those moving parts and some stuff that athletes and coaches should consider when they're planning for that. So that's high level what we're hoping for. Again, we'll see how COVID rolls out, and I'm hopeful that we can get a good solid season in. I'm really happy that we have a domestic calendar where we can earn FIS points, and there's regional competitions there, assuming competitions can go forward. I think it's really important for us to be mindful of following the regulations and the rules and ensuring that the events that we can host within Canada go off really, really well, so that we can prove that we can have and run safe events, so that we can continue to have more and more events. The worst thing for me, I think, would be for us to not be able to host events this coming season. Moving on to criteria, wanted to take this opportunity to give you a sense of what goes into the criteria process. It's long, and there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of pieces that we can control, and there's others that we can't. So, I mean, ultimately it starts out with our long-term goals. And as I stated earlier, it's international podium performances that we're striving towards. And so when we look, 6 years down the line towards 2026, where do we want to be? And then building back from that. Of course, our business plans, those are looked at annually and adjusted. And then of course our budget and our capacity to execute. So what's realistic, and financially, what can we actually do? There are certain requirements from Sport Canada, the Canadian Olympic Committee, the Canadian Paralympic Committee as well. So, we might want to be able to send 30 people to an event, but there are certain points requirements that would limit that. They're looking for the best and most competitive when it comes down to Olympics and Paralympics and World Championships. There's our season goals, and then there's the event criteria. So like I said, World Championships. I know on the Paralympic side, you have to meet a certain WPNS point standard in order to be eligible to compete at the World Championships. And then beyond that, within the team, we take a look at what can we support and what is the best development plan for our athletes. As I said, this year quota spots is going to be critical for us. Who are the athletes who can earn Canada the spots, so that we have as many spots as we can get going into games, so that when we do come time to have qualifications for those spots, we've got more spots up for grabs for Canadian athletes. And then of course, as I presented earlier, just what's the race schedule and plans for FIS and IPC, and then going back to budget, what are our focuses for that year. Next layer, of course, is it fair? Is it transparent? Is it understandable? I'm excited for our able-bodied criteria that's currently under review. I believe it is quite clear what the expectations will be for making team selections for the coming season. It goes through some vetting through athlete reps on the Paranordic side. The Paranordic Committee takes a look at things with their expertise in that lens. And then from there, it goes to the High Performance Committee. And we've got a new High Performance Committee. It's a smaller skills-based committee. There's athlete representatives from the Olympic and Paralympic side, retired athletes. We've got a coach representative and 2 members at large. And then there's a few staff who sit on the committee as ex officio members. And so right now we're in the process of reviewing all of the criteria to be put forth. There's been some excellent conversations, good questions posed. We'll make some adjustments to make sure that it is the criteria that we feel confident to stand behind. That High Performance Committee will provide advice to me, and then I approve, and we move forward with the translation and posting of our criteria. At that time, I'd say that's a critical point for athletes and coaches who are looking to make selections and earn spots onto teams, to really go into that criteria, read it, understand what the expectations are and what needs to be achieved in the coming season. So you know what you're after and what the expectations are. We will be posting all of our updated materials on our website. I'm striving to have a high performance page where you should be able to land at that one page and find everything that you need to know about criteria, any changes to our event schedule, really anything high performance will land right there. So just keep checking that website page. That will be where the most up-to-date and consistent information will be. If you went on there today, that's not our current data. It will be updated very shortly. And then, as I said, that's the time for you guys to review, ask questions. If things don't make sense, if you're not clear on something, let us know now. We'll strive to provide clarity for you for that. And then, throughout any normal year, there's often amendments. Events event dates get shifted, things like that. And so there's amendments that come out that'll be posted on that central one-stop high performance page on the website. And I highly expect that there will be many amendments over the coming season, largely due to things beyond our control, likely COVID-related cancellations. So we'll make those amendments in timely fashions with all the information that we have and post them as quickly as we can. But just know that, yeah, keep going to that website, and that is where you will be able to find all the information that you need. So that's all the information I had for you this evening to share with you tonight. I'm sure there's some questions. I haven't read any yet. I see there's 3 in the chat at the moment. Yeah, I believe there's a super exciting future ahead for high performance sport and Nordic skiing over the coming years. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you to make all of these dreams a reality. So thanks for your time this evening, and I guess we'll open it up to questions now. And I'm actually not seeing any questions.
Looks like it was crystal clear, Kate.
Must have been perfectly clear.
Wonderful. I'm sure they will trickle in as time goes. We'll just give it another minute or so. This is that call, gang. If you have a question, please fire it in now.
Just put my email up if you don't have it already.
Here we are. Kate, we have one.
From Frank, yeah.
So
chance of trials running in Whistler, great question. We certainly hope so. We've been in great conversation with CCBC in the organizing committee there. Last time I spoke with them, there was, the question posed to us, like, what can we do? What's the bare minimum numbers to run a solid event, a good depth of field event, and make it a good trials. And so we provided some numbers of kind of bare minimum. What they were going to do is work with their government relations to make sure that event could go forward and seek an exemption. So if things were to shut down, if there was interprovincial restrictions and stuff like that, they were going to seek a way for us to get athletes into Whistler so that we can compete. I'm sure there's multiple layers involved in that, but I know that CCBC is working well with us to try to make that a reality to happen. And if it doesn't, then certainly we'll we'll come up with alternate plans to figure out our next steps beyond that. But I do know that they're working really hard to make that happen for us.
Okay, Kate, we have another one. Any word on the status of the Canmore NORAM?
So far as I know, it's still a go. I haven't heard anything to say that it isn't. So it's still within our plan. Yeah, that's all I know, Pat.
So will there be a restriction on who can attend trials? I assume that's trials, not just trails. Is that trails or trials?
No restrictions on trails. No firm restrictions on who can attend right now. Certainly, if we are limited in the numbers that are allowed to come in. So if we're restricted by the number of the size of the event, then we'll certainly have to take a look at that and consider what a qualification standard might be. But right now we haven't heard anything to shift that decision, but certainly it's in the back of our brain and we've started mapping out some ideas, but right now we don't know that there's any restrictions that would make us shift to having a qualification for that event. Good questions. that it?
Last call, folks, and we'll be wrapping up. Okay, Kate, I think we're done. So thanks everyone for coming out this evening. This will conclude and hopefully see you all again soon. Remember sending in questions. Kate has posted her email in the chat. It's also available through the website. So any further questions, please feel free. All right, have a great evening.
So thanks.